hear all the time that our mindset matters. Like, you have to have an abundance mindset. Or, well, the wealthy doesn't think like that. You need to transition your mindset. Sometimes it seems like, woo woo, like give me something tactical that I can do. Telling me to transition my mindset is just not helpful. Today, I'm going to teach you some simple ways that you can start to make shifts in your thinking that will attract money. Hello again, I am your wealth coach, Dr. Brittany Halford, an internal medicine physician, and I teach women in healthcare to pay down debt, to invest independently, and to save $10,000 by making strategic money decisions without sacrificing joy, because it's time for all of us to have more joy and more wealth. So I want to thank you for being here with me today. Today we are going to talk about how to make small, simple shifts in your mindset that just draws money to you. The law of attraction is a new thought, spiritual belief that basically like attracts like. So if you have a positive thought, then you will attract positive things into your life. And that's because we are all energy. And so if you have a positive energy, then you will bring more energy towards you. So some like to call it pseudoscience. Although we don't have like defined cohort studies in which one person who was positive and only spoke positive then had better outcomes than a person who spoke negatively. But what has been demonstrated is brain activity. So there was a study in which a teacher or the researcher primed a certain subjects to say, you know, you're lazy, you're not going to do well on this test, you're stupid. And then the person took a test with their activity of their brain monitored. And what they showed is that when they got a wrong answer, that there was no heightened activity of their brain. It didn't trigger anything because they had been primed to believe that they were lazy, stupid, and couldn't get anything right. So the fact that they got something wrong only confirmed what they thought about themselves before they went into the test. It didn't trigger any action or creativity or further thought process. Versus those who were primed to say, you're smart, you can do this, you know, you take action. When they took a test and they also got things wrong, their brains lit up. Their prefrontal cortex showed heightened activity, and that is the area in which we start to reflect and refine. So if you believed that you couldn't do well and a wrong answer confirmed that, then there was no trigger to think further about course correction. And so you didn't learn from your mistakes. Now, this is really important if we're thinking about our mindset and attracting more money. Because those who are able to think positively, or those who are able to think creatively, are going to generate more money. They're going to feel empowered and in control and learn from their money mistakes. So whether you believe that it's pseudoscience or whether you believe that there is some psychology and neural activity that accompanies that might trigger an action, it's still good to just speak positive to yourself so that you can feel better. So let's get into some ways in which we can improve our mindset to attract more money or just to feel better about ourselves. Now, I hinted at this when I talked about that priming stage. We often prime ourselves as well with our language, just as the researcher primed the students using certain words and terms in order to kind of plant that into their subconscious. So I would challenge you, what are you doing to prime yourself? What are you speaking into your own life? And to understand the power of our language. Often we use our language that may introduce doubt, introduce a lack of control, and devalue our expertise and our self-worth. I'm going to give you a few examples of this, just in case you're like, Brittany, I do not do that. Let me just share a few examples, okay? Ones that I've even said before, and ones that I hear my clients saying all the time. I don't know if. Introduction of doubt. I can't afford. Lack of control. Devaluing. I struggle with. I wish that. Means that it's beyond our control. Lack of control. I hope that. I am trying to. Devaluing the efforts that you've already put forth. Oh, this is my little project. Reducing the size of what you're doing. Oh, this is my small business, or my side hustle. I say that all the time. My side hustle. No, this is my passion. This is what I'm doing. Speaking confidently about what we are doing, who we are, and accepting compliments is so important in order to start to transition that thought process about who we are and what we can become. I want to challenge you to write down, or I've even seen, I've never do this, but people put like a little rubber band around their wrist and pop their wrist. I don't want you to do that as a stop behavior. But anytime you hear yourself saying a negative statement that, oh, I wish that I could just be better at swimming, write it down, what that wish is, and then I want you to reframe that statement. I will be better at swimming because, fill in the blank, the action that you need to take to do that. And it helps us to relate our emotions with our actions. And it is so important that when we're starting to shift our mindset, that we can also visualize what we can become. Instead of saying, I wish, I hope, I struggle with, visualize yourself actually accomplishing that goal. Reframe it and write it down. And once you do that, you will start to make that physical connection with the kinesthetic learning. You have the visualization, and then you speak to yourself that positive, what you've written down as the transformation. Now, in order to attract more money to your life, you also have to evaluate your thought process and your thought patterns. We all have been conditioned in our rearing environment and other settings to think a certain way. Maybe in your environment it was not as nurturing and you heard a lot of, you should be doing this, or you aren't doing this. Or maybe in your adult life you made a lot of mistakes, and so you take that on as your guilt and your identity. These manifest into our subconscious that makes us think a certain way about ourselves and perceive the world in a certain way. So there are three kind of states in which you think about the world: current state, past, and future. And your language about who you currently are can be either negative or positive, right? Oh, well, I don't do that well. You know, I'm no good with money. Or if you're thinking about a past state, oh my goodness, there was just not enough money for us to go, whatever. Or there wasn't enough food at the wedding. And future, are you someone who typically goes down you achieving the worst case scenario, that doom, or the positive, your desired state? So, oh, well, you know, if we do this, then what happens if? That's something that happens always. You know, you can go down this road of what ifs and create the scenario that's full of challenges and fear and scarcity. Or you can accept, oh, that's going to be great because after we, you know, take a run, I'm sure there's going to be like a beautiful sunset. Or someone may say, well, if we go on a run, what if we encounter a bear? Or what if I trip and fall, or something like that? So categorizing your patterns of thought. Negative thought patterns are ones that are scarce, ones that are just typically doubtful, and those that predict doom. Other positive perceptions, outlooks, thought patterns are those that are positives, so see the good, abundant, and desirable. Now, in order to acknowledge these patterns of thought, I would like for you to reflect on your past. Reflect on your story. Reflect on a conversation that you've recently had with a friend, with a parent, with a spouse about some past event. What were some of the things that you highlighted in that narrative? And document that. Also, consider when someone gives you a compliment, what do you do with that statement? How do you perceive that? And when you're planning or predicting the future, what types of things do you plan for? Do you plan for things that are negative occurrences that are going to happen, or do you plan for positive events? This will allow you to assess where on the spectrum you typically fall. Are you more negative leaning or more positive leaning on the spectrum? And present opportunities for you to start to course correct that thought pattern. And whenever you're transforming a thought pattern, it is a process. It's not an event. It's not like, all right, now I'm a positive thinker. It takes action, it takes intention, it takes monitoring, and it takes patience. So I would encourage you to do that. One of the things that I've worked with my therapist on is that anytime I say something negative, right, and I acknowledge it, in order to go from a position of awareness to actualization, takes time. But once you are aware that there was an opportunity to be more positive, to speak more positively, then you can basically do a do-over. So it's like, all right, well, girl, let me tell you. So yesterday I went out to eat with such and such, and the food came late, and this waiter, my gosh, he just took so much time, and it was just a horrible experience. Hold on. that was negative, right? Do-over. I went out to dinner yesterday with some complete strangers, and we had a great conversation about what is happening in this conference, and the food was good. The chicken and waffles had these pickled onions and arugula. I've never had that on chicken and waffles before. And instead of using syrup, they actually used like this honey blend. It was absolutely delicious. Both of those narratives are true. Both of those narratives are true, but you see how one was more positive leaning. It focused on all of the things that I liked and I enjoyed, versus the other one, all the things that I didn't like. In the world, positive and negative are going to occur all the time. And so that takes me to my next tip, that is always a matter of perspective. If you want to start to shift your mindset to attract more money, you have to change your perspective. There are, I don't know how many billions of people in the world, and how I perceive the world as Dr. Brittany Halford, wealth coach, is filtered through my lens, through my experience, through my upbringing, through the way that I was nurtured. And someone can have similar experience and they can see it completely different. And it's all a matter of perspective. Imagine that, you know, you are 7 feet tall and you have a friend who's 4 feet tall. What you're going to see on that 7-foot level is going to be different than what the person on the 4-foot level sees. It's the same experience, but it's a different perception. And so anytime you're thinking negatively, those negative intrusive thoughts start to come in about who you are, what you can accomplish, who you can become, I want you to shift it and invert the perspective. Now, I know we've all seen like the old woman and the young woman. And sometimes people see the old woman first and sometimes see the young woman first. Now, I'm not going to say that the young woman is negative or the old woman is positive and vice versa. But what I'm challenging you is that your brain, once you see it, can visualize both. So challenge your brain to see both. Maybe you're seeing only the positive, and that is very important, right? That we acknowledge the positive, because there are positive things that are occurring in the world, and when we feel good, then we are going to do good. We're going to have more energy. We're going to approach a project with more vigor, with more creativity, and be more productive. But seeing the other side of things also allows us to mitigate problems, to decrease risk, and to be innovative. So it's important to see both. And if you're someone who's typically negative leaning, then see it from a positive perspective and actually write it down. Just to recap, a checklist of all the things that you can do right now to start to shift your perspective, to be positive and to attract money into your life, because we're all about getting more money, is one, to do a mental inversion. So anytime you see something, you encounter it, and you see the negative part of it, flip it around and invert it and see the positive. What else is there in this experience, in this moment, that is positive, that is going to serve me? Write down your goals. And after you write down your goals, write all of the actions, the practices that you currently have that will help you to fulfill that goal. If you have a goal of paying down debt, then one of the practices that will help you to meet that goal is going to work every day, right? You're generating income that you can use that money to pay down your debt. There are skills, traits, and attributes that you currently have that are going to help you to accomplish your goal. And if you can start to make those connections with goals that you desire, with actions you're already taking, you're going to start to feel more positive, to feel more empowered and energized about your capabilities and your capacity to actualize that goal. And I really love this one. I did this one before. Ask your friend to make a list of the things that you do well, of your strengths, of the characteristics and traits that they love about you. Everyone loves a compliment, whether we receive it or not, it still feels good. And make that list and post it all around your house with Post-its. And you can even make your own list of the things that you do well, your strengths, the qualities that you appreciate about yourself. Because you will be giving yourself subtle reminders that this is who you are, and you'll start to feel more confident and more positive about who you are and what you can become and what you can accomplish. To attract more money, I also want you to spend with confidence. This may not resonate with you, but after having my children, I would sometimes pass them off to other individuals because mommy needed a break. So whether it was a family member right there and I needed a bathroom break, or if, you know, there was a stranger sometimes who just wants to hold the baby, depending on that person's confidence, my son or daughter would respond differently. If it was someone who's so welcoming, oh baby, they knew what to do, then typically my child wouldn't cry. That they would feel comfort in that experience of that person because there was confidence that they exude and they could sense that. Versus if I would sometimes pass them off to my nephews who have no experience caring for babies and they're like, oh, and trying to hold the baby and don't know and all awkward, full out cry, agitation, because this person doesn't know what to do with me. And so you want to attract more money in your life because you know what to do with money. And so you need to show money that you actually know how to spend with confidence. Now, I hope that these tips were helpful for you and simple ways that you can start to transition your money mindset. I would love for you, if you make a list of positive affirmations, for you to either write them below in the comments or share them with me on social media and tag me. I want to share your list with the world and encourage you to think positive because you have a lot to offer this world. You have a lot of skill sets. You are beautiful in the way that you were created, and you deserve money to come to you. When we change our thought patterns to be more positive, then our brain is going to respond to us differently. We're going to exert a different energy and we are going to welcome in abundance. So let's attract abundance together by making these small shifts and encouraging each other to think more positively and put that energy out into the world. Now, if you want to learn more tactical ways that you can pay down debt, like steps that you can actually take, then I want you to watch this video right here where I talk about ways in which you can pay down debt more quickly without earning more. All right, so we're going to attract money, use that money to pay down your debt, and we're going to have more joy. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.